Good morning. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. You are watching Daily Dive. It is Thursday, January 16th, 2025. I am your host, Michael Carvelis in Guyton, Georgia. Producer Joe is behind the scenes in back-to-back 4-0 Banditland, New York. We are live on 12 on Sports via YouTube, X, and Roku. Subscribe to the 12 on Sports channel on YouTube for other great shows and live sports. On today's awesome show, we're going to get into LFG for week number 8, a reason to watch all 8 games this weekend. We'll have our guest segment, Dan Arestia, talking all things NCAA Lacrosse this season and the NLL season thus far. And of course, the latest in memes from our good friends at NLL Memes on Instagram, those savages. Before we get into this show, we want to let you know this show is presented by tickets.12onsports.com. That's tickets.numbers12lettersozsports.com. Get your National Lacrosse League tickets for less by going to that website, which features every sport and also all your favorite artist concerts, among other things. Tickets.12onsports.com. Alrighty, it is time to get into Let's Go! A reason to watch all 8 games in week number 8. And I'm excited for this one. Producer Joe, if you could put the games at the bottom of the segment, that would be great so people can follow along. All right, so one game on Friday. It's the only game on Friday, so why watch it? Heck, if you miss it, why even watch the replay? Because we're going to find out, is Ottawa soft? Vancouver, with their stingy defense, might let us know how much this team is actually, how much the Blackbears have actually improved. So that's for Vancouver at Ottawa. On Saturday, 6 o'clock, by the way, all times are Eastern according to my standards. This total is set at 25.5 according to DraftKings Sportsbook. Are we going to see another shootout? And it starts an hour before the other games. So for Rochester, Halifax, look out for that total. We could go over again. Saskatchewan at Toronto. This is the first of 2 games at 7 o'clock on Saturday. If the Rock get their first win against the Rush, we might be asking, is Saskatchewan frauds or is Toronto back? It's such an amazing thing what could happen on both facets, but we're going to find out very soon which of those is true, if the Rock still suck or if the Rush are just completely frauds. The second game at 7 o'clock is Colorado at Albany. You know what's interesting? This game got chippy late during the Colorado comeback in the Loud House last weekend. So keep an eye out for a couple of haymakers this week, especially you new NLL fans. 7:30, the Wings at the Bandits. Why did you switch over? Well, not just because the Bandits in Banditland is absolute cinema on a broadcast, but it's the Wings power play versus the Buffalo Bandits stingy defense. It's like a immovable force against an unstoppable object. However that terminology works, I never get that right. But yeah, Wings power play against the Bandits defense. Saturday, 9 o'clock, the Swarm and the Roughnecks. Calgary, to me, has been sneaky, but will Georgia lose 3 straight? That's the bigger story here. They've lost games at home to Rochester and Ottawa, so now in Calgary, are they going to lose again? The late game at San Diego, it was San Diego at Las Vegas, starts at 10 o'clock. Here's the thing. The Dogs beat the Seals last year. And people like myself are wondering, was Joe Tsai paying off the Seals? I'm just kidding, but you know it's in your head. Might be a foreshadowing of a Mike overreacts. And then, of course, Monday at 5 o'clock, why should you, on a work day, tune in or kind of, behind your boss's back, tune in to Warriors at the Wings? Because there's nothing else on, and it's the second game of a doubleheader for both of these teams. And for me, my favorite games this weekend will probably be the rematch of Colorado-Albany and Philadelphia at Buffalo. But I'm going to watch all 8 the best that I can. Monday's going to be a stretch, but we're going to try to do it, how I do on Twitter. But yeah, what are your favorite games this weekend? Let me know in the comments. In the third segment, I'll talk about them if you do comments. Well, folks, enough about me. When I come back to this awesome show, we're going to air a guest segment with Dan Arestia, talking all things NCAA Lacrosse and the NLL season so far. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pods Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water. Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Glare for you. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought
We're good. Hey, we're live. We're technically live, but this is Dan Arestia, very well known on the X universe for, first of all, coverage of the NLL games this year has been great, sir. I want to give you credit for that.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Been trying to do some clipping and watching a whole lot more games and everything. It's been fun. Without the Riptide around, without the ability to go to games anymore, I find myself on the couch and in front of the screen, enjoying a lot more games that way these days.
Yeah, 4 hours away from the Swarm game. I try my best. Doesn't work.
Yeah. Much easier to just throw on the old ESPN Plus and bop around a little bit.
As great as that production is, I'm kidding. All right, so I think it wouldn't be fair to your viewers and fans if we didn't get to NCAA Lacrosse first, because you were a scout of sorts, I feel like, in some regard. What is the work you do? I believe it's you dabble in a few different avenues and platforms.
Right. So, when it comes to the college game, I'm sort of trying to see as much as I can. There are not enough hours in the day to watch the amount of lacrosse that I would love to watch when it comes to college lacrosse season. But so in the course of the year, basically, I vote in the Inside Lacrosse Media Poll. So we are now submitting our top 20, our preseason top 20, cool, and our preseason D1 All-American teams for men's lacrosse. And then for USA Lacrosse Magazine, I do I contribute to the Division II and Division III All-Americans and weekly polls and everything there. So I do that with a guy named Kyle Devitt, who's a legend in this world. If you're in lacrosse, you know Devitt pretty well. And then a number of other folks over at USA Lacrosse Magazine too, kind of make sure we don't go too insane and get too out there. They run a comb through our work to make sure that we don't sneak in anything that's too aggressive. Sometimes some stuff gets by them and makes it to print. It's all fun, but so I do those two things for the college game, and then just sort of on my own through my own outlet through Sticks in Lacrosse, I sort of go through the D1 ranks and I try and find and evaluate guys I think who will be successful at the PLL level, at the pro level. I don't evaluate very much for the indoor game because I don't think I know it well enough, or I don't think I've been able to, maybe someday when I get a better feel for kind of evaluating indoor talent. Right now, like I can tell you that Brendan O'Neill is pretty good at indoor lacrosse, but I don't think you need an expert for that. So, I try and find some of the guys where, maybe they're a little more off the beaten path guys, we all know CJ Kirst is going to be a successful pro. You don't need me to tell you that. I try and find some of the guys maybe a little further out there that I think are worthy of pro evaluation, worthy of an invite to camp, worthy maybe of being drafted, and trying to get some tape on those guys and seeing if I can find some diamonds in the rough.
I love that. See, you're like me a few years ago when I was dabbling in the NFL world and it didn't work out, but I was like a quarterback guy. I love this stuff.
Yeah. It's like, there's guys all over the college lacrosse landscape who have the athletic ability and the body type to be a pro. And that kind of gets you to be like, whoa, this guy is 6'5" and 230 and is fast. He's like leading his team in ground balls. I got to see some more of this guy. And that'll take you to watch some more games. And it's how, I love players like Mitchell Dunham, who was at Mount St. Mary's this past couple of years. I think he's at Richmond for a grad year now. And he's like a between the lines monster. And he's, this freak of a LSM, but not too many people were tuning in to Mount St. Mary's games. No shade to the Mounts, to the Fighting Tommy Lionses. But I look at Mitchell Dunham and I see a Team Canada guy. I was like, this guy is a pro, but nobody's watching these games. So, those are kind of the players that I go out and try and find. And
the best part is when you watch a game and realize, oh, this guy's really good too. I got to look at him too. Same team.
It takes you to guys like Brett Dobson at St. Bonaventure, who's putting up 80% save percentage in a game. You're like, I think I need to watch more Bonnie's games. Like this is
not bad.
This kid's worth watching.
He's turned out pretty well.
Yeah, it's worked out for him.
So, I don't know if you're allowed to give us your top. I mean, obviously, I'm not asking for your full top 20 here, but I do got to ask you. Let's see a team in the top 5 that you think will be considered. Is there anybody in the top 5 or even top 10 that might be considered a bold take from your end of the best teams?
Any bold take in the top 5 or top 10. So I'll say this. USA Lacrosse Magazine does their own D1 All-Americans and D1 preseason top 20 as well, and theirs is out already. Inside Lacrosse, as we just voted, I think it's out probably next week sometime, maybe 2 weeks. But I will say USA Lacrosse Magazine had Army much lower than I have Army. I look at the Black Knights as a team that brings back Will Coletti, first team All-American faceoff specialist. I think AJ Pilot is going to challenge for the Schmeiser Award for the nation's top defenseman. I think Evan Plunkett's going to be a first team All-American midfielder. Guys like Jackson Eicher, who kind of came into last season, he's a guy coming off an injury last year, so wasn't as known. I think he's a really, really special talent at attack, and he's going to, command matchups for them at attack. I kind of just look up and down that roster, and I'm like, they bring back just so many, just elite players at every position. They're going to have to answer for who's going to be the goalie. They lose Knox Dent. Fort Knox is not between the pipes anymore, but look, this is the Army Black Knights. Their calling card has always been, we play outstanding defense and we get excellent goaltending. And then last year they added to it, we have some very dynamic offensive weapons too. So I have Army up there in my top 10 for sure. I think they're a top 10 team. I might even have them as high as 6 or 7. I think they're very good. I think, based on where they were last year and the amount of talent that they return, I think they're outstanding. The challenge for Army is always, and I think it was Quinn Kesnick who was one of the first people I heard talking about this, but if you go to a service academy, particularly if you go to West Point, when you get into April and you get into May, things like sleep and an adequate amount of rest and that kind of stuff, isn't always going to be there in bountiful supply if you're at a service academy. Sometimes the demands of that college career could just be a lot, and it's hard to get the recovery if you're an Army lacrosse player that an ACC lacrosse player might get. So it's almost a little disadvantage for them late, but I still like Army as a team that could be there Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, so it's funny you mentioned the defense and the goaltending, because I'm thinking, like, first thing that comes to mind with, like, is football for me, and like Army's football team is always defense, run first kind of stuff. So I love that you mentioned them. Is there a clear-cut number one? I feel like was it Notre? There's a team out there that's like really like the number one team. I haven't dabbled in the NCAA world this year yet. I apologize, but who is it right now?
To me, when I do this, I always do the king stays the king until they lose. So Notre Dame has won back-to-back NCAA titles. They are the clear and obvious number one to me. And even if they weren't bringing back as much talent as they are, I would still make them the number one team. Because again, to me, if you are the defending champion, you stay number one until somebody knocks you off the throne. But look, they have Chris Kavanaugh and Jake Taylor back. Jordan Faison might win a football championship this week and then just stroll right out to the lacrosse field. They have the number one recruit in the country, a Connecticut guy who I have to shout out, Matty Jeffrey from Cheshire here in Connecticut. Number one recruit in the country. He's going to be on their team this year. Brady Picorni is a 5-star recruit for them from Darien, who had, I think, 5 goals in a fall ball scrimmage at attack for them. So, there's a freshman load up. There's guys that are returning like Will Lynch. There's guys that are returning, like we said, with Kavanaugh and Jake Taylor. The losses for them are sizable. Pat Kavanaugh won the Tewaaraton. Liam Enneman was a finalist for the Tewaaraton, was the best goalie in the country. Losing two guys like that is hard. Losing defenders like Chris Conlon, Marco Napolitano, it's hard. But I still look at that Notre Dame team and the depth that they had last year and how much of it is back. I think they've earned, even if they weren't the defending champ, I think they earned kind of the number one spot.
I mean, even having the other Kavanaugh is not the worst thing in the world to have as well. So
yeah, Chris, again, Sean Light's probably going to be a preseason first-team All-American on defense. Chris is probably going to be a preseason first-teamer at attack. They're stacked. They're still stacked at every position despite graduating, Tewaaraton winners.
The rich get richer.
Yeah.
Tell me about, I know you mentioned that, you don't really know about the indoor game, in terms of prospects, but have a question for you. Give me 2, maybe 3 guys that you have really stood out in your early recruiting that may be coming back this year that as you're expecting as freshmen this year. Give me somebody that you're looking forward to seeing. They can make it the PLL at least.
A guy who's a young guy?
Yeah, any of them. Coming back, any of them.
Guys that are in this draft class that I guess I'm really excited about. Let me think about this for a second. I love Sammy English. I love Sammy English, who's a midfielder at Q's, who's a 2-league pro for sure. Sammy was excellent at Princeton before he got to Syracuse, and it's like every time I watch him, the amazing thing is everybody in the building, everybody 3 states over knows he wants to go to his right hand, and I still just don't ever find anybody who's able to routinely and consistently take it away. So. I think Sammy English is one of my favorite players to watch for sure as a midfielder. At the pro level, I think he'll be successful as a midfielder for sure. And then let's see, who else do I really like this year?
Some off the radar if you want to.
A little off the radar. I will tell you, everybody's favorite goalie coming out this year is going to be Emmett Carroll from Penn. And rightfully so. I think Emmett was the second best goalie in the country last year to Liam Entenmann, which makes him the best goalie in the country in almost any other season in college lacrosse. But Liam was just kind of special. But I will go even outside of D1. Adelphi's goalie, D2 champion Adelphi's goalie, Dylan Renner, is, I think, a pro goalie. And as I evaluate guys for the pros, I know some of the other media folks and everything have it as Emmett Carroll and then, a Jack Fracchion or a Michael Gianfrancaro, and they have some other goalies after Emmett there. I'm taking Dylan after every goalie except for Emmett Carroll. I'm taking Dylan. Wow. He's going to remind you as you watch him, and I realize this is going to sound insane, and I'm not saying he is this player, but he's going to give you Blaze Reardon vibes when you watch him in goal.
Okay.
the way he plays with his body, he plays angles. He's a big body goalie, but he's also he's also just fun. Goalies we all know they're a little bit different. Dylan is no exception. Dylan talks plenty of you know what to people. He's animated with his body when the ball's at the other end of the field. You'll see him whacking pipes. You'll see him talking to the sideline, talking to himself. He is a monster in the goal. There wasn't a goalie in America across any division that had a better save percentage last year than Dylan Renner. So I think Adelphi's Dylan Renner is a pro, and I wouldn't think twice if I needed a goalie in the PLL level. I didn't get Emmett Carroll. I would make Dylan Renner my next call.
Well, you're saying he's a big boy who plays his angles well. NLL calls.
I don't know if Dylan has box experience or not, but the energy and the interactions between players in the indoor game fit Dylan for sure.
Love it. So let's talk the NLL now for the last few minutes here, because it's been a really awesome season. We know that Panther City folded. Hey, newsflash. Ottawa now is obviously not the Riptide. They're not Ottawa Black Bears. But aside from that, who have been, like, I know Bandits were 4-0. Best teams for the NLL right now, just teams that have, like, stood out, like, wow. Maybe the Rush, like, you didn't see coming or something like that.
I was going to go right to the Rush. I definitely didn't see the Rush coming. I feel like this season is a season that we didn't see coming. Like, you know, Toronto 0-5. Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, injuries aside, good Lord. You know.
Like, obviously they're as banged up as anybody, and the injuries add up, and they've had some tough breaks and all that. But, you know, I had mentioned it kind of on social, but as of this week, the teams that made the playoffs last year in the NLL have a combined record of 16-23, right? And eight of those wins are Buffalo and Georgia. The teams that missed the playoffs last year are 21-14. Like the NLL has flipped over from a year ago. And I think as a fan of the sport, I love that. I love that I turn it on. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think the Rush are probably my team where I run to kind of turn them on because I think they have players that are fun to watch, that are exciting. And then obviously the win-loss record makes them compelling right now. I think Zach Mans has kind of become a superstar, and I love to watch him shoot the ball. I think, you know, big fan of Brock Haley. I was a fan of Brock's at UVM. I thought he was a guy who might be a 2-league pro, but he hasn't really caught on outdoors yet. I don't know if he wants to or if he's a, you know, summer box guy. That's always another factor there. But so I really like Saskatchewan. I'll tell you, I know Vegas's record isn't great. I still make sure I spend a couple minutes every weekend if Vegas is playing. I want to watch. They're fun. I think Jack Hanna's name is going to start coming up when you start counting those 5 best players in the world, those 10 best players in the world, like overall, indoor, outdoor, the overall player. Jack's name is going to start coming up, I think, in those conversations for Americans. Yeah. The way his indoor game has taken off and the way it, you know, has elevated his outdoor game too is I think he's good for a SportsCenter highlight a week with Vegas. And that alone, again, outside of wins and losses, that alone makes them worth watching to me. Beyond the fact that I think, you know, obviously Donville's a great player. I think Patra, you know, is if I was going to pick somebody outside of Brendan O'Neill to win Rookie of the Year, I'm probably starting to look at Adam Patra making a case for that. So, you know, I think Vegas is a fun team. I'll watch Ottawa because I feel like I used to go to Riptide games. I feel like I have an attachment to Ottawa, and I like seeing them. But I think the surprises of the year are the teams that are not surprises in a good way. Like we said, Toronto, and then Albany, man. Like, you know, is Albany made the deal this week, you know, to try and, you know, I think spark something a little bit, but like I am stunned to see where Albany is. You know, and maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe because it was like, all right, they were at the bottom of the standings. And last year they like played their way to the finals. And they were one of the coolest stories in the sport. Are they just like back to the mean now? Is there like a regression? They were over their heads, or are we looking at the real Albany right now? I don't know. But, you know, look, 3 OT losses at home for them is things are just going to break that way sometimes. But I think 1 win Albany and winless Toronto combined are, to me, the 2 biggest surprises. Yeah, I know Toronto's banged up. They've been banged up since before the season started. I don't think anybody expected them to maybe be 5-0, but 0-5, I don't think we saw coming.
No. One more thing to ask you here, because I got to broadcast this guy in Montana. If my connection's screwing up, it's my fault, but who cares? Jake Naso. I got to see him in Montana. I know he was amazing at Duke, one of the best all time at faceoff, etc. Have you been surprised about Jake Naso's box impact immediately, or was he like one of those dogs you're like, okay, he could be both?
No, I thought, I will say, coming out of school last year when I was ranking guys, big boarding guys who I thought, based on the chances of them being a successful professional lacrosse player, this is how I ranked them. Positionally, I had Jake Naso, I think, as the best guy coming out. I think Luke Weirman is the one who kind of took off outdoors and had an exceptional year in the PLL. Jake, got, I think, added or drafted by the Redwoods and then never took a faceoff for them, ended up getting released. But Naso has always been athletic enough where it was like he could win you the faceoffs, and he's really good at that. I think he won over 1,000 in his time at Duke. So yeah. Jake can always win you the faceoff, but his athleticism is a little bit underrated, I think. In the outdoor game, I think in the outdoor game, he's a guy who will give you the outdoor version, of a Joe Nardella type, where it's like, if he's on the field playing offense, it might not always be the worst thing. Like you can't just forget about him and just wait for him to run off the field, because he will punish you. So that for the indoor game, I find always translates really well. I'm happy to see Jake doing this well. Again, as somebody who's kind of just enjoys being right about guys once in a while, being the guy who thought Naso was the best coming out and that he didn't make a PLL roster, I was like, shit. But, Naso being this good for Saskatchewan, does it surprise me? No, not at all.
Love it so much. I know there's more we can get into. Women's PLL is awesome too, but God, I feel like there's so much. We've taken a lot.
I'm
of
excited
time
for that. I'm going to be there in February. Yeah. That goes in a month. We got the championship series indoors, some sixes. I'm going to go to check out the men. I loved watching the women's All-Star game at it last year. I'm excited to see them get more game opportunities, get them on TV too. It's going to be good.
Well, we're going to have you on probably before that or around that time anyways. But Dan, thank you for your abundance of knowledge and thank you for your presence on social media, for spreading the game and being awesome there too. Dan, you're great, dude.
I appreciate it, man. Anytime you want, I'll be back. Just let me know.
Let's go. Dan Arestia, everybody.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
You need tickets to that next event? We've got them. That's right, tickets.12ozsports.com. Get you to any sporting event, concert, theater event that you can think of. And the promo code 12OZ or ROME gets you an additional discount. Don't feed the massive ticket corporate machine. Go to tickets.12ozsports.com and enjoy the show. America, get back on track with Dust Pods Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
What up, everybody? It's producer Joe, the baddest daddy in producing history, here to tell you all about the baddest, daddiest merch store. Go to the link tree in the bios of either our IG or Twitter, and from there you can access merch for the only Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show on the internet. I repeat, the only Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show on the internet. We got hoodies for when your girl comes over and wants to cuddle. Just don't let her take it when she leaves. How about a baddest daddy cap for when you lie about how much you hate Mike in this show, but you're still here? We've got beanies so you can do that in the cold too. Guys, what's going to happen when all these moms see you dropping your kid off at practice in this thing? Want to sip like a daddy and feel like a baddie? Check out that mug. 6-time NLL champ Johnny T and savior of my Buffalo sports childhood knows what I'm talking about. Guys, I'm really going to need you to start buying shit because I'm getting sick of doing Instacart. But yeah, go check it out so you can start repping and supporting the brand. Producer Daddy out.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Unbelievable. First, my Wi-Fi was crapping itself in the last 7 hour here. All right, honey, we're back. I want to thank you guys for 150 plus live viewers today. That's awesome. It's humbling. It's amazing. It's a new personal record for this show. All right. I'll remind you that we have a audio-only podcast version of this show. Head over to Spotify and search Daily Dive. And when today's awesome show ends and you're getting your tickets for the next game, make sure you get your tickets for less by going to tickets.12onsports.com. That's tickets.numbers12lettersOZsports.com. You will not regret seeing things live, knowing you got your tickets for a great price. All right. A Thursday tradition. It's such an amazing time of year because NLL memes is in full swing. So once again, Producer Joe, we're going to keep this up on the screen for the remainder of the segment. And we've got actually a couple of weeks to get into because literally like an hour after last week's show ended, they posted a bunch more. So we got a couple of weeks worth. Let's do it. Here is, first of all, the pictures. This is from when they posted it. It was, what was Donald Trump looking at? The NLL memes. I dig it. I respect it. Yeah. Talking about that not the Wings, but the Rochester and Halifax game. You did a hat trick. You did a hat trick. Everybody did a hat trick. Oprah meme. And then they posted a power rankings. This thing's legitimate, by the way. Super Bowl contenders got the Rush, old logo, Warriors, Bandits, Wings. Hashtag good, not hashtag great. Mammoth and Swarm. Too early to tell. Seals and Black Bears, frauds. Roughnecks and Thunderbirds. Undersell the team. They've got Firewolves, Desert Dogs, and Rochester. A high school female box lacrosse team could beat these guys, got it at the Rock. And the NLL scheduler makes it on the list. That is brutal stuff by NLL memes. But as you know, their videos go even harder. So here we go. Sorry for those that are listening. You're not going to be able to see these, so you got to check out the YouTube channel to see it. Here we go.
We got to go first question out of the gate, and then we'll take it back to the beginning. But everyone's been dying to know if you're NLL memes.
You wouldn't believe how many times I've got that question, and I'm not NLL memes. Let's make it official. I don't have that sense of humor. He's pretty good. I get excited when I see his posts because I'm like, oh God. Mostly excited, but at the same time, I'm like, please don't be me. Please don't. You don't see your name, right? So,
how did that even start? That people started asking you that? Was that just like inside the locker room? The boys are giving you a hard time.
I guess, yeah. I think I paid like too much money for like one of those GIF apps over my career, and I love making the GIFs and putting people's stupid faces on stupid little GIFs there. So I don't know if people just made an assumption, but I don't even know how to do half the stuff he does.
Shout out to Back of the Bird, that podcast. I'm not sure which player that was they were asking, but it's pretty good, though. Who is NLL memes? The world may never know. Licks another lollipop. Alrighty. First of all, that was the one moment in Infinity War that almost made me cry. Second of all, when Sean Lee Wallace was like, yeah, you got to throw this challenge flag, I looked at the video, and it was like clearly not even good. I did not know memes was going to go that far, but that was impressive. I was like, these guys, that was from like the 2 weeks ago, like they just posted it, but there's like a couple more from that one, and then we're going into the current week. Come on, man. Producer Joe, what is that movie? Tickers, please. I'm terrible.
In charge.
Do you feel in charge?
What is this?
Your money and infrastructure have been important. Till now.
What are you?
I've Gotham's reckoning. Here to end the borrowed time you've all been living on.
Pure evil.
I'm necessary evil.
The movie sucked, by the way, but I know it's a very bad take, but I did not like I just didn't like that movie after Joker, after Heath Ledger died. That was it. But yeah, good meme though.
Who are you talking to right now? Who is it you think you see? No, you clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am the danger. I am the one who knocks.
Man. Okay, now let's get into current memes. I think that's going to be hard to top, but we got some more here. Yes, sir! I love that song. Kick and ball, I'm telling you, boys.
Each time when I come here, I am abused.
Oh, they did it.
Oh, fuck.
Man. Evil. 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 Run! Hey, I love it. Oh man, these man. Oh man. First of all, I like the ones that like we can actually have sound over the main music, so we're not getting screwed over here. But yeah, he didn't come to the Colorado game.
I knew exactly what to do, but in a much more real sense, I had no idea what to do.
The office to end all. Shame on you. This show. That account, thank them for never like getting mad at us for using their stuff. Hunter Smith is back. Yeah, how dare you? He says, come on, man. Come on, this guy. Get off of your Vancouver high horse, Hunter Smith. But yeah, thanks for listen. There's 170 people in here. I don't want to milk this, but then again, I do. Guys, you're awesome. NLL memes is always fantastic, but we already knew that. Do follow them on Instagram at NLL memes. They give us content for the league that you go into. That's just gross. Anyways, Thank you guys, everyone, for tuning in. We're not Joe Rogan, but darn it, we're close. You guys are the bread, you're the butter, you're the she's running out the dough. To my what band is that? I'm so stupid. How am I gonna do that joke and not even finish it? Whatever, who cares? Yeah, you guys are awesome. And comments, it's fun. For everyone that comes on the show as a guest, like we had Steve Bermel and Cody Jansen yesterday. We've had Joe Rosatiris. We've had people galore. We had Dan Arestia today. Thank you for sharing your audience and platform with us, giving us validity and relevance. For Bigo, who's always dialing it up on social media, and of course for the baddest daddy in producing history on Kickers and Such, producer Joe. I'm your host, Mike, saying have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow. Big Friday. 8 games. Same time, same place, Fun Sports. This has been Daily Dog.
Thanks for watching Daily Dive. See you next time.